How's it going, everybody? My name is Oz, with you again for another installment of the Omi-Cast. This week we have a very special guest, who's, you know that guy, Matt.
Woo! I'm just so happy that everyone now who's been guessing who's going to be the next guest is now just like, oh, turn off.
They know you. That's it. They know you. You know that guy. Everybody knows that guy.
Yes, yeah.
You
But,
have just
we got
lost
some
us like
really
50
cool
viewers.
stuff.
We got
Yeah, looking.
50 viewers? Who cares?
no,
But
I'm joking.
either way, we have a really cool discussion coming up today, mostly put together by Matt. So, without further ado, let's just go through the intros and we'll go quickly into our discussion and begin El Podcastorino for Awesomenauts. What is this, the 8th one now?
Seven.
This would be
Seventh?
7th.
Seven.
Wow.
So exciting!
7. Lucky 7. Alright, go! Take it away!
What's going on, you guys? You know who it is. It's DD's here, and look at this. I'm wearing short sleeves. You know what that means? It's warm weather outside, it's summer, and we're here listening to a podcast inside. You should be ashamed of yourself. But take this podcast outside, go for a jog, and enjoy. Oz, who are you?
I'm Oz, and I don't jog, as many of you can probably already tell.
It won't go for jogging.
But, I play Ted. I'm a member of Team 8 along with DD's, and that's pretty much it about me. Who's next?
Dev.
Who's
That's
next?
me.
Dev? That's you.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Professor Dumbledore.
Welcome
Welcome to the field of Hogwarts. No, I'm Devmon, and I've been maining random actually recently. I've been doing a whole bunch of different characters, but I usually play Swiggins, Genji, and a little bit Head on the side actually. And that's about it for this week. So, take it away, Nada.
Well, I'm Nada, and if you are just starting to look at the video, you wouldn't know if I had arms or not. But
Woo!
I don't think that's relevant. I main Raylan, and I play a bunch of other Nauts. I've been playing Nauts for a good while. I do random things like casting and streaming and YouTube videos. And some of casting might even be with Oz, even though he doesn't like to say it. But today is not about me. It's about our next guy, and you can see him. You're not used to him. That's that
Oz's
guy.
beard.
That guy over there.
I think we know him. Do you know him?
That's that guy. You
It's
know
that
that,
guy-
you know
it's
that guy.
That guy.
Everyone knows
People
that
tend
guy.
to know that
Yeah.
guy. You know?
Yeah, well, who are you, that guy?
I am that guy, also known as Matt or Mattman522 on YouTube. youtube.com/user/Mattman522. I main Ted Payne.
Follow his Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Yahoo.
Dig it.
What
I'm
else you got?
all of it. Just go on my Tumblr. My Tumblr. I'll talk about other kin and all that stuff.
Oh, don't.
I mean
This is
Ted
not-
Payne, Scoop, Clunk, and Penny, and I used to main Ayla.
Ooh, dun, dun, dun.
You
Uh,
monster.
Dun dun dun.
It's just evil. Maybe.
No,
Evil eye.
people that main Gnaw and Lone Star are evil. Those are the evil
I'm
people.
starting to
Hey.
learn Gnaw, and
Dude,
I've learned
You know
to just
what? I
be
think
as
we should-
annoying as possible.
We should end
Not
this
as bad as
podcast
Lone
early.
Star.
I don't want to be with a... No, never.
Wow.
You know what? It's not
Let's see
even
what you have to say,
Dirkwood.
Dada. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
You're gonna talk
you know,
stuff.
go show your
You're gonna
mid-lane,
talk some stuff about Durple and Gnaw
No.
now. Come on, lay it on me. I can take it.
No.
I'll take the hits for Durple and Gnaw. No problem.
What about Sentry?
There's nothing wrong with Durple. All you have to do is play Cat Durple and you win.
No. No.
Mm-mm.
Alright, let's not get into Durple discussions
we'll
now.
go into that later.
Yeah,
Matt,
we'll talk about that later.
start up the podcast. What would you like to talk about first?
Well, one of the topics I brought was something I've talked about a lot with Awesomenaut's friends, and that's how Awesomenauts is kind of the underdog in MOBAs, essentially the Smash Bros of MOBAs, and I'd kind of like to talk about the fact how Awesomenauts can really get into the MOBA scene, because obviously Smash Bros took so long to get taken seriously in the Evo scene. It's only last year, if not the year before, that Smash Bros made it into Evo, which is the biggest fighting game convention there is. And Awesomenauts, other than a sponsorship by Alienware, haven't really been taken seriously in terms of being a MOBA.
Seriously, in
Throw
what
that out to you
regard,
guys.
though? Because that's what I kind of want to get into. You know, Awesomenauts is a serious game to the people who play it, but I'm assuming you mean to the outside community just looking at it from a MOBA perspective, saying, oh, I played Dota, oh, I played League of Legends, oh, I played Heroes of the Storm. What is this? This looks like a kid's game. But in reality, when you take a look at Nauts itself, it's really not. there's a lot
It
of
does
stuff
have a lot of
going
depth.
into Knots.
It's just very different compared to the other MOBAs, since it's not top-down view, it's not lane dominant, and it's 3 people, so it's very different, as well as a cartoony style, which I like. That's why a lot of people are attracted to Awesomenauts, because it's different. But
And
it's still
it's
following
fast-paced.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my
It's
God,
very
compared
fast-paced
to
compared to other
stupid
MOBAs.
League of Legends
You
schemes.
know, I've played Dota and I've played League of Legends, and the second I got into Awesomenauts, I was like, this is awesome. I don't have to farm for 20 minutes before I can actually engage in something.
You said
It
something
is
that's
nice,
really
yeah.
interesting there, because you said it's fast-paced. I highly disagree. It gets into combat instantly, and that's very true, but it's not fast-paced, because the matches can still, and quite regularly, take over 20 to 30, more commonly 30 to 40 minutes.
Well, compare that to a League game, though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm
Compare that to a
comparing it
Heroes
to.
of the Storm game that
That's
that
true.
usually
Yeah.
takes
Heroes
anything
is
from
new,
10
though.
to 20.
Heroes is just getting out there, so hopefully it
Yeah.
will be
I
big.
still don't think that's going to elongate the longer Heroes of the Storm out. I don't think the game lengths are going to change at all. I think Heroes of the Storm has got it quite, at least for game length. Whether people think, personally, I think it's the best MOBA in the world, but that's just me. Whether or not you guys agree, obviously this is an Awesomenauts podcast. It's got that game length really well, and for how fast-paced Awesomenauts is, it does kind of, because it gets into the action so quickly, you kind of go, well, okay, 20 minutes later, what now? Nothing's changed. The same thing is happening over and over. And that's kind of what it is like with Smash Bros. In terms of fighting games. Most fighting games, Street Fighter, what have you, consist of sort of 1 or 2 big engagements, and then this sort of sizing up period at the beginning. Those 2 big engagements, like the first engagement usually decides the fight. And then Street Fighter, it's over within 10 minutes, if even that. Because the match timers are only, 5 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. With Awesomenauts, there isn't that sizing up period. It just goes, and you clash, and then it's the same thing for 30 minutes.
Right, you're talking about the progression of it. The one
Yeah.
thing that I am going to disagree with you on is the sizing up period. A lot of competitive play, the first 3 to 4 minutes of it are sizing up your opponent and just getting an idea of what they're looking to accomplish in their lanes. A lot of competitive play that we see on Augion, that's the case. You switch lanes, you clear, you go back to the top, see what's going on, clear the top, clear the bottom, rinse and repeat over and over and over until one team progresses forward and pushes into making an attack pattern. So, as far as the comparison between other MOBAs, Knots has that kind of indie feel to it, which is why I was attracted to it to begin with. I took a look at League of Legends. I said, okay, whenever I'm playing League of Legends, 5v5, I already know someone's going to be jungle. I already know there's going to be a duo lane and a solo lane at some point. In Awesomenauts, it kind of comes down to if you can contrast to your team the most and contribute the most, I don't want to say displacement, because displacement is one of the huge things in Awesomenauts and the easiest ways to pick up kills.
Yeah.
You compare that to League of Legends where the lane switches are so long. Or, Heroes, they have that whole mount system where you can mount yourself to another lane, which is why I enjoy that, because it's a quick lane switch. You look at Knots, the lane switches are instant. If your teammate's out of position, you can say, oh, okay, we need to get there quick. We need to make sure that he's not going to be displaced to the point where they're going to pick him up and pick up an easy kill on him. That's why I like Knots, just because of how quickly you can navigate yourself around the map. And, obviously the artwork on it. I had someone come over the other day, watch me play Knots for 5 minutes and said, what am I watching? For such a simple game, it has so much to it.
A lot of people have not actually looked at the backgrounds of the map. On Ribbit, you have that giant robot in the back that's super well made and very high definition graphics and stuff. So it plays a little trick on you. You have cartoon styles, but you have a lot of detailed work going into it, which is I can't wait if they ever release it. The user built maps or a map editor.
Eventually,
I am going to be all over that. I have made so many maps for other games and stuff like that, and I was going to talk to you about Smash also. But in terms of Awesomenauts, to not deviate topics, it's also very simple in a way, because you're looking at other MOBAs and they have multiple skills that go into characters. You have at least 4 on the start, and then you can separate into very different builds and stuff like that. Here, everyone pretty much knows all the characters in high-level competitive games, so you know their basic movements, their basic speeds, their range of attacks, and everything like that. And depending on the upgrades, which you can easily memorize also, you know their playstyle. So while it's very static, you also have that size-up period at the beginning of what a team wants to do. Because for being a Solonaut, you are highly dependent on what your team comp is. Team comp is Awesomenauts. That's my opinion. But we've been talking a lot about like Awesomenaut mechanics, but the idea I thought was to talk about just general where MOBAs are going. Which, Matt, I wanted to ask you, like, why do you say Smash Bros isn't or is the underdog? Because I've played a little bit of competitive Smash, and I've met like J-Tails, Mewtwo King, and everything like that, and that was decent, but it just, the console thing wasn't part of me. But like, we have such a strong community. We're all dedicated to the game. We've seen multiple people that have won tournaments, and like our competitive players keep coming back whenever there's a new tournament. Like, why do you think we're the underdogs?
Yeah, Matt,
I'm still here. I'm just not in the sky.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have this like nice pose going on, thinking with your beard, going, "Yep, there you go."
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
All right, he's back.
It's gonna mess up everything.
No. Nope, it's good. Nice.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Those overlay skills.
Nice.
With the question of Smash being the underdog.
Wait. Your mic on Skype, please.
Oh, shit. There we go.
he became like a god for a moment.
You will behold my powers of speaking twice at once.
With the terms of Smash being the underdog, I think now it isn't, but it always was, simply because it was the fighting game that no one took seriously on terms of a meta, or a play style, or those kind of things. Well, I mean, you can disagree, but it's fact. Smash just was considered the underdog. It wasn't taken seriously in fighting games. People that played it thought so, but people that didn't play it, people that played Street Fighter, that played Tekken, that kind of thing, they obviously considered Smash Bros. In the same way that a lot of League players regard Awesomenauts players, or Dota players regard League players, in just that you are playing a simpler game, thus it is inferior. That's not the case, obviously. Smash is can be a very complex game, but it can also be a party game. And it's a similar thing with Awesomenauts. If you just want to go on and have a bit of fun, go for it. You just jump in solo, quick match horrors, shameless plug, and then you can just go. But with League of Legends, you queue up, you sit, you all decide in chat. You're immediately bombarded. Are you going top? Are you going mid?
You're going over roles real quick.
You're suddenly given all of these complexities. Even the simplest game of League is more complex than the most complex game of Awesomenauts. And that's not an insult to Awesomenauts. Awesomenauts is just a simpler game. And that's sort of the beauty of it. But it is, in terms of tournaments and stuff, like when was the last time we saw an Awesomenauts contest at a convention? I don't think ever. But there is always a League tournament. There is always a Dota tournament. And there is very always likely, just other examples, StarCraft tournaments, Tekken tournaments, Street Fighter tournaments. Those things are just staples. And I'd like with the whole overall question is more, what do you guys think it would take for that to for Awesomenauts to become that thing that is taken more seriously? Is it on the part of the community? Is it Ronimo's job? Is it more the fault of outsiders that just don't take the time to take it seriously? Like, who is the onus on to get the ball rolling in terms of making Awesomenauts that much bigger?
If I
can, taking the step into tournaments. Sorry, yeah.
No, just before you move on and get into the whole bigger picture, my whole thing was, and my question to you, Matt, and everybody else would be, how did Smash Brothers become where they are, or get where they are right now? And this is going into what you were saying before. How can Nauts do that? Because as you said before,
I can answer
Smash just got into Evo. You know, Nauts, I think, Ronald is taking a huge leap forward in the right direction by continuing to put out these tournaments, which is one thing that I find to be amazing, that the second installment of the Alienware Cup is ongoing. That's my huge thing, that Ronimo and the community are working together. One thing that I have to really commend the Awesomenauts community on is, I would say, the camaraderie between the tournament hosters and everybody taking part in it. Because a lot of these community tournaments that are going on right now, you know, Awesome Fest is going on, that was hosted by Yeezus. And previously, before, the Charity Championship.
Slaughternauts, Charity
and
Championship.
Slaughternauts,
Yep.
and all of these things that have been going on. You know, it's a very difficult thing to host a tournament and to actually get people to contribute to it. So the camaraderie between all of these tournament organizers and the community itself is very strong within Awesomenauts. You know, we may not have the following that League of Legends has or Dota has, but what we lack in numbers, we make up for in quality. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Tonight.
Very true. To answer your question about Smash, since I was a little bit of a Smash player, I at least know the basics of it. They got big because it's ironic. They simplified their game mechanics. You had Smash players going from Brawl or like Project X or anything like that are very technical in terms of being played with characters and like combos and stun locks and everything like that, and also teching out of hits or anything like that. I keep saying that, but whatever. Like teching out of a hit would be precise timing, just muscle memory, and knowing your character, knowing the opposite character. It's super technical and super time frame, like iframe kind of mathematical business. For the new Smash that came out, it was a lot easier to get into. You are now creating a party game that can be played super easily with every skill level that anyone can come in, or take that up to a huge learning curve and get into highly competitive iframe, like tech dodging, everything like that, and super combos going through a team of 5-on-5. And that, I don't think, can be done for Awesomenauts, because we can't go that far. We have introduced 2 abilities per character, which I don't think Ronimo should change. That's part of the key basis of why Awesomenauts is Awesomenauts, and it's amazing. But a higher learning curve of what we can do with those characters, that's something to think about. Or maybe more technical difficulty maps, like navigating through the lanes and stuff like that. But in terms of what we can do, I think I'm not blaming Ronimo, I'm just saying it's all on them, because Ronimo isn't a big company. We have a niche underground company that is doing an amazing job with Awesomenauts, but it's not even community size. It's just we have to get our names out there. Most people do not know about Awesomenauts, and it's just a problem. I wouldn't say advertising, I would say just knowing about it, just getting it out. Yeah, notoriety, there you go.
I think on the note of like saying with the complexity thing, I think one of the problems, not exactly a problem, but something that is noticeable most of the time with Awesomenauts, and similar thing that's noticeable, I guess, to bring a comparison, would be TCGs, in the sense that there really is only 1 or 2 sort of optimal meta builds for most characters. Originally with Ayla, there was only kind of 1, really. And then with Froggy, there's those 2 kind of basic ones. With most characters, there's only those 2 kind of builds. With games like League of Legends and Dota, there's such a myriad of different builds you can do that can really surprise the opponent. With Froggy, you kind of know what you get.
One here, because surprising people in Nauts is usually like the opposite thing when you do that, because as you said, you have like 1 or 2 meta builds. And then when you surprise people, it's usually like a Raylan going piggy bank snipe or something like silly. So what I'm actually thinking here is, what if we somehow could, because people take damage because damage doesn't scale. So if there's a way to make damage scale, if you could get more interesting gameplay by eliminating damage upgrades, and that the game sort of scale damage, and then have all these, yeah, exactly, and then have upgrades that would do all these other kinds of things, like just like silly things. Or... Yeah, well, like I just had this weird idea.
Are you talking about passives in a sense?
Yeah.
No, like I'm thinking like really weird upgrades that could move. Like for instance, take Raylan, you snipe. All right, fine. After you're done sniping, you'll teleport to your end of your snipe or something like that. Something weird, something fun.
Something weird.
The Awesomenaut
Oh my
community
God.
has been asking for a long time to remove flat damage upgrades. Like
Yeah.
that has been a thing in the forums for a while, to just remove flat damage upgrades, and it kind of makes sense because it's not dull, but it's very predictable. You know, like there was a period on the forums where people were complaining all Froggy does is just take all his damage upgrades. He just takes all his damage upgrades and then becomes invincible. and so that became the meta, because there's nothing truly better than damage. Because in Awesomenauts the fights are so quick, the quicker you can end those fights and kill that person, the quicker you can go to a turret and win. If they introduced, say, like the teleport to the end of the snipe, which I think is really effing cool, that's really awesome.
Yeah,
I want
like
that would make me play Raylan just for that ability.
I mean that'd be cool. I mean, you'd have to think about like you want to snipe someone on a turret. Well, do you have enough HP? And like so the things you can move it. You can use it to move around. You like snipe upwards. You drop down with a rift. Like all these things.
Synergize
and let
with
the
range on
damage
snipe.
scale.
I like
Oh,
that.
jeez,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
But if they only added that without getting rid of the damage upgrades,
Yeah.
it'd be a really fun thing to take, but it would not be
Yeah,
optimal.
exactly. So the damage needs to
Yeah.
like kind of like HP does, and then have like different rates where AA scales and have your base abilities scale and whatnot. That way you could have just a lot more upgrades and things would be viable just because damage wasn't an option anymore. And then we'd have to like go in and see, right, well, how about shields and stuff? They'd have to be reduced as well, because like that would be counteracting, and then like you'd have Derpal taking half damage of base damage. That would be really dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know,
You know,
but going back to what you were saying before in regards to, we always see the same meta over and over and over again. When we see something different, we're playing in the upper league 2s and 1s, or 3s for that matter, but when we see something different, I get so confused when I see a Froggy get ice cubes. My brain short circuits. I don't know what to do. I see it happen, I get so, I'm like, wait, why? Why are you doing this? This is not what you're supposed to do.
That's like a really cool thing. Like the best example I can give from sort of the other MOBAs is in League of Legends, for example. I occasionally do a thing called Annie support, which I didn't invent that. I just like to do it because it just throws everyone for a loop. They're just like, bleh, and they don't know what to do, and then suddenly you win lane. You don't win the game necessarily, but it really helps you win lane because you've thrown a wrench in the works because it's something different. And adding those things to Awesomenauts, where you can't just say, oh, there's a Froggy, don't get stunned and use CC on him to kill him quickly. If that wasn't something you could do, just look at a Froggy and be like, oh, well, okay. You could look at a Froggy and instead go, right, here are the 5 optimal things he could do. That makes it more interesting, and thus gives it that more variety, which then I think gives it that sort of...
It spices it up. It adds that variety. It makes for interesting gameplay. But like I said, I see a Froggy getting ice cubes, and I don't know how to react to it. I can't do anything to it. It's like, I'm slowed now. I'm getting displaced. What? This Ayla decided to go AA Ayla before the patch? What is this monstrosity that I'm experiencing?
I am guilty of that. That was fun.
I remember your AA Ayla. It was a bit scary.
The thing is, damage upgrades totally outwork the utility upgrades or like special status effect upgrades, because they're just damage. Once you get enough, you can easily get killed. An interesting thing that I just thought about right now is, what if there wouldn't be a way to one-hit a enemy player? What if we multiplied the health bars by 10 but left the damage alone? That would mean that we can burst down maybe half of their health, but then we still depended on our brawl abilities or our reduced cooldown abilities or something like that. So we would definitely have like maybe 2 characters build into burst, 1 build into brawl and support, or a tank or anything like that. And sadly, the only way I can see that being viable is if we introduce new upgrades. So extending the possible upgrade bar, and maybe introducing 4 upgrades instead of a max of 3 as we keep going on. But
the only thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the only thing that I can see with that is that it's going to take away from the simplicity of it. And that's why I like Knots, because it's simple, I caught on quickly, and I learned quickly. That's why I like it.
But if you're going simple, then simple in the terms of route of like which way should you go, you're either going damage or brawl in the ultimate of how to win games. I don't know. Like, that's pretty much an understatement.
I think it's obviously something that Ronimo would be able to gauge, I suppose, more than anyone, or someone who just like spends all day reading the forums, is how much more complexity can this community take without going too far before they just say, well, I might as well just play League of Legends. You know?
Oh.
So it'd be interesting to see, like I like that idea of increasing health and stuff like that. But it's seeing what the limit is for the community. How much complexity can the community take?
Yeah. Cool. No,
go ahead.
Oh, we're being too polite, right?
Too polite, jeez, guys.
Oh, you know what, Dev? Like,
yes.
you're the master of polite, so why don't you go?
Well, I'm going to interrupt everyone then. And there's one thing I've wanted to say for a while, and the one thing I think Awesomenauts really needs to get into the competitive scene, and it's actually...
Is he going to take off his face?
Oh, he's doing the...
Spectator mode!
I agree.
We need spectator mode.
Spectator mode.
It would actually help a lot of people look at competitive matches rather than having just to go through the replays.
You know, that's actually pretty... That's going to add up, like, you were talking about complexity, and I think that makes really good sense, because if you want to add complexity, then you want to get people sort of an outlet to let people learn, because you can't... The more complexity you have, the more game hours you're going to spend, you're not going to have all that time, because people usually say, all right, well, I just have a time for a quick game or not, and then I'll be off.
Yeah.
So if you have spectator mode, people will be able to like keep up with the added complexity if it was to be implemented. So I think that's very right. And in terms of making the games, you know, how am I gonna call it, an attractive options for people to play competitively at conventions and so whatnot, you want to have some sort of, you know, complexity so that it's impressive that you play and so on and so forth.
And one thing that I want to bring up while we're on this topic is, with the spectator mode, is going to come a brand new interface, which is going to be absolutely crazy. You know, you look at games that have I don't
those eyes are freaking
browser.
me out, man. Terrifying.
But
there you go.
You look at games such as Dota, you know, you go to the home screen, or you look at games as Heroes or League of Legends, you go to the home screen, and they kind of have a showcase of what pro matches are going on right now, what league matches are going on right now, and I think if we get that into Knots, you know, some of the lower league players are going to take it and say, wow, you know, I never knew
this
that there
was
was
one of the things
this...
I could do?
Exactly. And they're going to say to themselves, all right, you know what? I want to do this. I want to get a team, and I want to compete. And that,
I didn't know I could
think
triple somersault as Froggy G.
Exactly. But I think that in itself will just be a huge step forward in pushing Knots to be, I don't want to say on par, because it's going to be a while before it's on par with League of Legends or Dota, but compared to the other MOBAs, I think it's going to be a huge push forward in that aspect.
Yeah. Ooh, I do have one great thing to say. I think it's great, at least. One quick topic is that first, self-praise. That wouldn't be too hard to do, because we have a lot of unofficial teams. Like we have Ape, Ion, 99 Cents, Boss, everyone like that, high-end teams. What if that was coded into the game itself of not being unofficial, but say if you've reached max level and you've leveled through the things and unlocked all characters, you're able to register a team. And if you register a team, you're able to register players, and that will, I guess, move into like a competitive
making
query.
The team registration thing a bit more official.
Exactly.
Really cool.
That would be really cool.
Oh, I have an idea. You can have like a spectator group. You can like, right, where you want to spectate this team they're playing.
Exactly.
That is a really cool idea.
Yeah.
And
so that'd be good for
like
pickup games.
And the thing is, that is pretty much all network coding, or I guess just interface coding, because it wouldn't change anything with game mechanics. It'll just be registering a team and then allowing the spectator like mode to track that team leader when all 3 players are playing against another team, which would be a team versus team query. Which I guess the Happy Matchmaking server, it's set to put pre-mades versus pre-mades more often, I'm sure they can think of something. They're very professional.
Or you could have something like a team battle in that sense. So
Yeah.
you have teams register and then register to fight other teams as scrim matches or pickup games that are maybe unranked. So you
I
don't
would
lose
watch
ranking
that.
from fighting them, but you get the experience of fighting other people for basically good practice.
That would be amazing.
I
That
would
was a
download
really
an app
good
on my
idea.
phone. That would like live stream a little game on my phone on the subway train, just looking at that.
Yeah.
But another
Right
thing
on,
I want
get
to,
on this.
yeah,
Do it.
Access to the papers.
if
Also,
someone
replay
could,
lobbies, please. Just
yep, replay lobbies. If someone could help me out, and there was a post on the forums suggesting not any game mechanic changes, but like a farm kind of thing. I think it was like Awesome Points or whatever, and Corporate
yeah,
made
yeah.
it.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
an old forum.
That's
That's
an
super
old
old.
forum, but
Been
that
going for a
yeah,
long time.
that's
that
like the
doesn't change
barbecue mold.
mechanics, and
I
it
want it.
doesn't do
I want
anything.
it. Still
Everyone
want
wants it. Like hire community coders to put that into a game. We have talented people who do mods in ASM or whatever it is, and I'm sure they've already made all the mods, like all the pictures that we've seen on that specific post, like playing 1,000 games with Lone Star gets you a golden gun instead of the classic red gun that he has. That's a
yes.
GUI basic color change that we would want to play to keep going. That not only
It's essentially
brings
the
in
master
players, but
skin
yeah.
mechanic in Heroes of the Storm as well.
Exactly.
Like if you play enough games, you are allowed to buy this thing that says, "I like this character enough to dump 10,000 gold on it and show off this awesome skin." Hint, I did that for like a week with Sylvanas because oh my god,
I just got my master skin on Sylvanas today.
Oh, nice.
so good.
We got it, but either way,
I haven't played Heroes of the Storm.
we need
You should.
to
You
go
should.
into. I think
But
we need to go to
yeah.
another topic. But this was such a good topic, and I want to spend more time on it. But
No,
Damn it.
we have a
huge
schedule.
Extended edition
You have
of
to
the
keep
podcast,
going.
4 hours long.
that
It's
we
3
have
days.
to.
I've grown a beard. We're all sat there with donuts, just like
Day
still not
69.
sure donuts.
We're
Day
running out of
69 of
rations
the
and we have to eat
Omi-Cast.
the duck.
No,
Internet is limited. Connection is slowing.
Yeah.
My computer thinks I'm a part of it now. But
We all become the bog. It becomes a telepathic podcast. No one's even speaking. We're all just sat there staring at the camera.
we've just evolved to
Hi,
the point that
welcome
we're
to day
PCs.
2.
We are interconnected in most intricate ways.
But our next topic of discussion, I believe, is going to be balancing.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
it's
word?
talking about
More specific, we've done
balancing.
balancing.
More
a lot, so-
specific, we have done balancing a lot. I'm talking about for
Yeah,
you, so
yeah.
you can change that little thing at the bottom of the screen.
Oh yeah,
so you
I
can
know.
take
Yeah.
the hint.
See,
Yeah.
I've totally missed the first like introduction and just been on the other topics, but you know, whatever. Keeping it classic.
Oh, we're going back to the introduction, are we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
okay.
Let's
was a
talk
long
about.
Nada, who are you?
Oh,
Let's get
I
the
am
ins and outs
you.
of balancing, and kind of what makes someone qualified to discuss balancing. I don't want to say qualified because anybody can discuss balancing,
Yeah.
but to really
But
have
opinions.
A
Your-
valid opinion.
a
like,
valid, weighted
'cause-
opinion.
more often than not, if you go onto the forums and go onto the balance thread, not to be harsh, but most of it's wrong.
Yeah.
You can't
most
just
of
say Frog is OP and not give us an explanation
Yeah,
why.
you
Exactly,
have to give
that's
specific
really lame.
reasons why.
Yeah, that's like performing a scientific experiment and saying, okay, the plant grew because I left it there. No.
It was outside.
Not photosynthesis, not the sun, not watering it and taking care of it. No.
But I think
It
on,
was
the,
just
on the
there.
like other spectrum of that as well, of people just being really vague, there's the people that sort of go way too into it to the point where they're just straight up telling Ronimo how to do their job. With
Well,
them, if
you
you
You know
go
what?
into
You
it
know
and
what?
then they-
I'm gonna cut you in there and say you said Ronimo doing their job. Well, Ronimo just reworked Ayla, and people were they did two things. They did the thing where she suddenly lost a lot of her lifesteal, but kind of kept it. It was
She's
like
self-sustaining now with the
yeah,
gumball,
well,
though.
but we're
That's-
like
we're
before
gonna
the
discuss
the
the,
rubber band ball became viable. We're at rework and like 2.0 and we're
2.9.
at 3. Yeah, but now we're at the we're at a good stage now, but it used to be really
We are not at a good stage now. She needs fixing.
Well,
She needs
I don't-
numbers.
concept-wise.
No,
Concept-wise,
no,
it's
we are
different
going
numbers.
to-
numbers are a bit off, yeah, but her
Tag
concept-
Ayla. We're
anyway,
attacking
my
Ayla.
point- my
You guys
point
always
being
talk
here-
about Durple and Gnaw. No, this is Ayla's time.
Durple's
going
weak.
to
Ayla
tear her
just
apart.
destroys everything.
Well,
Yeah, that's the
Go
thing
for it,
is
Oz.
At first, for me, when because I used to be an Ayla main, like I actually used to have one of the most viewed Ayla guides on YouTube. To humble brag, I guess. Because I loved Ayla. Like Ayla was my favorite character. I just gelled with her playstyle so much. I loved it. It was so much fun. And at first, I thought the new changes were a huge nerf to Ayla. I was completely wrong. Now she's not overpowered, but seriously, if someone plays her right, she dominates. She is unkillable.
She's like Sanic with Gumdrop, though. She's the
there's a
Gumball,
couple things,
excuse
yeah.
me.
Like-
She basically is Sanic. And I mean, I've had
Too
somebody change their Steam name to Sanic, making their Steam profile picture of Ayla, and all it is him on the top page. He's top 50 with the username Sanic playing Ayla as his most played Not. And I ask him why, so I queue with him, and I see him flying across the screen. It's just so blatantly fast, and she's terrifying with her AA now, because there's her sustain. She's got her Gumball, which is even more sustained. Oh no. And then that half a second cooldown on Rage mode, you can self-sustain. That is my whole point. I think that this rework on Ayla completely changed her meta. Completely and absolutely changed it. No longer can you have an Ayla chasing someone down in Rage mode, getting lifesteal. Now you really have to tear her apart. You have to displace her. You have to make sure that she's not going to sustain herself on you. So you kind of have to kite her a bit more than you would normally do.
And you can't leave her alone.
You
She'll
can't leave her alone, 'cause
she'll
she'll
go
heal
back
up.
behind her turret, do the gumball thing, do a little dance, and like heal up full, and then go for round 2, and you're like half. It's
And you're
ridiculous.
wondering where your life went out of control and what you did up until this point to make this Ayla
Why
hate
are
you
you
so
in
much.
Florida with your grandparents?
Exactly.
Oh, Jesus,
Exactly.
mess.
Like,
Oh my.
did you really need that Winnebago? I mean, really?
Maybe.
But yeah, that was the thing that I sort of I went through the 7 stages of grief with the changes to Ayla, because I don't like her playstyle anymore. She's just not my character anymore. She's not the same Ayla I started with. A lot of people on the forums have disagreed with me. They said, no, she's the same playstyle. I'm like, no, she isn't. Her original playstyle was engage enemy Nauts on droids or with another Naut. Be very cautious about when you engage because you are incredibly squishy. She was a pub stomper because most people thought, oh, high damage, run away, or now I'm dead. Instead of, oh, an Ayla, bang, I win. That was how you beat an Ayla. You fought her, which most people didn't. They panicked and left.
This is
Well,
when I started off, I just panicked. I saw an Ayla go into rage. I was like, no, not having any part of
Yeah,
this.
this is-
I will go back to my Voltar, stay behind the turret for a few seconds, and then I didn't realize
For a
that her
few
rage
seconds.
extended
A
to
Just
the
Voltar.
turret.
hide.
Jeez,
just
poor
hide.
Voltar.
It's been
Well,
a
this
while
was when
since
I
I've
was
seen a
playing on the
Voltar.
PS4, okay?
Oh,
I was playing on the
yeah.
PS4,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
when Notch released on the PS4, Ayla was god tier. She wasn't even S tier at that point. Just based Ayla god.
I got a lot of
Chris.
comments actually on my videos saying, oh, Ayla's overpowered, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you play on PS4? And they were like, yeah, what's that got to do with anything? I'm like, everything. Everything. But, like, because a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people, I've had discussions with people on the forums about it, that people think Ayla was underpowered at where she was. I honestly, like, I still, to this day, will quite happily say Ayla was one of the most balanced characters
I will
in
agree
the
with you.
game. She did not need changing. But Ronimo, like, with the original, the thing that bothered me about, I'd say, where Ronimo worded it, they said, it wasn't that they said she was underpowered or that she needed changing. It was that she's not our Ayla. She's not the Ayla we originally intended. I'm like, well, don't make her that way in the first place then. That was my problem with it, was the way it sounded to me was that it was nothing to do with balance. That it was just them wanting to rework the character.
In a
Which
sense,
is
it was,
their right to do, but that it's kind of like, well, now my main's gone. Thanks, Ronimo. Cool. Back to Ted McPain, I guess. Although
But-
Ted McPain is awesome.
There, you bring up good points, but my whole thing is, you speak about the Ayla changes, and you speak at how Ronimo wanted to change it. Gnaw.
Yep.
Gnaw got huge changes.
Yeah.
You know, he can no longer set it and forget it. He can no longer place his weedlings and say, I'm just going to be Gnaw. Let me just farm up this entire game. with
Oh man.
my weedlings in our
Serona
creeps.
games.
Eat it,
you know,
read it, and
you
leave
know.
it.
But
That's just hell.
Gnaw itself got a huge change, and it completely changed. It didn't completely change his playstyle, but it kind of shifted his meta a little bit because we're no longer seeing Gnaw setting his weedlings in mid, being able to control mid without any form of repercussions. You know, your team gets into mid, let me just set up my 4 weedlings. Oh, they're going to try and take mid? That's fine. They're just going to take a bunch of damage from my weedlings, and on top of that, if I get my amp on spit, everybody's just going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the whole thing with Gnaw now is, I feel like he's much more enjoyable to play because it forces you to be a part of those team fights. It forces you to push. It makes you want to be in the fray with Gnaw. Whereas,
actually do something.
Exactly.
Instead
Whereas
of hanging
previously, if I played Gnaw, you know, I'd set my weedlings in one of the creeps so that at least somebody can get a creep if they need it. But I'll set those weedlings, I'll get into the mid, I'll use my spit, and I'll back off. That would be my Gnaw gameplay. Now my Gnaw gameplay is, let me rush into the extra spit when it hits somebody, and then let me get slow on spit. And let me just annoy people. That's how
what I've
I
been doing
play
before
Gnaw.
the change, though.
Can I come with my Gnaw playstyle is like, oh, random gives me Gnaw. Nope.
Jeez.
I think the differences between like the Ayla changes and the Gnaw changes, and I think this is very prevalent on the forums as well, is Ayla has been changed. She's just a different character, essentially. Gnaw has just been made more difficult, more challenging, and more, well, not even
More
hard.
I
rewarding.
wouldn't say challenging.
You need to do more. You need to
that's
think
right.
more.
People have
That's
to
exactly
think
what I
now,
think.
that's it.
Like you gotta do more to be annoying at the same level, but you can do it. And
Oh yeah, it's still possible.
oh yeah, and the competent Gnaws are like, I'll just do it anyway. I
My
don't
whole
even
thing
need
is,
this.
with Gnaw, I think we're realizing his potential now. And
Mhm.
that is what is really cool to see. We're realizing what he can really do in team fights, the amount of support he can give just by his spit alone. And people really do underestimate a Gnaw on turret. You drop your 2 weedlings behind your droids, start biting the turret. It's so much damage before they
He's a really
realize
good pusher now.
And that's the really interesting. If you go into the forums, or at least it was this week ago, maybe less. I have no perception of time. That most people were actually saying, "Oh, Gnaw is completely nerfed now. You need to buff Gnaw." I'm like, no, Gnaw's fine.
No, not
now
at all.
Gnaw
he's fine.
is
He's
now
pretty
Gnaw is a
balanced
valid
right now.
character. Yeah, Gnaw is a good character now because he's not just going to bite you and then run away and you're just going to die from poison and you never got a hit on him. Now you actually have a chance to fight him. Gnaw is just now more, again, not exactly challenging, but you need to do more other than weedlings.
Yeah.
I win!
There's more mistakes that people can capitalize on, so Gnaw has this added skill floor that's gone up a bit, so people have to be a little bit better. If they're not making effective use of the weedling parts, then they're going to be dropped down, so people can't get away with the same things they had been before, which makes Gnaw harder to play, and it makes easy Gnaws really easy to punish in that sense.
And I'll tell you right now, Gnaw is a great counter to Nibs. It is a very fun counter to Nibs.
Yeah.
Also, actually, I haven't really thought of that at all.
Slow
slow
on.
DOT.
Well, basically, once she goes into Fire Breath,
right.
if you have Regen Bite on Gnaw, which is what I normally pick up, I just say, all right, that's cute. You got fire. I got spit.
I like that.
I got everything. I mean, you're gonna try and fire me. That's a problem.
No, you're fired.
No, you're fired.
I literally think
But,
it's just your Gnaw because you build into split spit and then slow on spit, so you hit the nibs as a stationary target that does initial damage, and the split spit makes it so that she has spit on both sides that will slow her, and then you go to the town with the regen or lifesteal bite and you just chase her down.
Well, how about the teleport if they just...
They're still slowed out of it.
They're slowed out
Yeah,
of
you're
it. You
able
can
to
catch
catch
up because one bite, if you have rabbit's teeth, you can catch up.
Oh my God.
Halfway across the
I
map.
normally
She's
get
really slow
rabid.
horizontally.
I normally get rabid, regen, and attack speed.
Yep.
It's
That's
scary.
all you need.
It's scary.
But
But
I
with
think
the-
I'll just quickly state this because I don't know. It seems like that you guys, everyone said that Ayla was probably the most balanced character before the rework, and I somewhat agree with that. I
Other
thought
than
Ayla.
Clunk
Clunk
never needs
was
changing.
nice.
Clunk is fine.
Yeah.
Clunk
Yeah,
literally
do not touch the Clunk.
completely
Hitboxes.
balanced. Just can't be changing.
Sorry, I don't know.
Even
who
the
said
hitboxes.
Yeah, even
But-
the hitboxes.
Square
don't.
hitboxes. People need
Yeah.
to realize that it's a
That-
square.
It's a square.
It is a square.
It is a
That
square.
needs to be fixed, though.
I'd like to
Please,
see that changed.
that's the only thing. And the bite hitboxes just
I'd like to see some diversity on missiles, to be honest, but and
The
homing
bite
missiles
hitbox,
being-
it lags, but yeah.
homing
it's decent.
missiles. Nah.
For this point, I dare to say that Gnaw is the top 3 of most balanced characters in this patch.
Oh, sorry,
I think so.
I would agree.
I
Because
absolutely
he's
as well.
easily punished. But with the thing you said about what I say, we're talking about people saying that Gnaw needs a buff now. That's the part of the whole discussion of what makes you qualified to talk about balance. If you've only played one Gnaw, which I know a lot of people on the forums only played Gnaw, if you've only played one character, you are not qualified. You've played one character. You don't know how other characters, like say for example, if you play Gnaw all the time, you don't know how it is to play a Raylin against a Gnaw or play a Nibs against a Gnaw. You don't know what it's like to be anything but Gnaw. So how can you truly comment on balance? Because all you know is what damage you're doing, not what damage you're taking against a Gnaw.
I agree in that aspect, but you know, my whole thing is obviously everybody's entitled to their opinion,
Oh,
but
yeah.
for it to have weight behind it is what
Mhm.
I think you're getting at. And I agree to the extent that if you play one Knot, you know exactly what you're doing. You know what damage you're putting, you know where you are in most team fights, and you know your positioning throughout the map. Playing against you is the huge deciding factor in that. Because as you said before, Anoa knows how much damage he's outputting. Anoa knows exactly what he's going to do. But you don't know what it's like to be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like to have Anoa just set it and forget it. You know, you see it from your team's perspective of, oh, nice, we took mid. Let me get set up in mid and hold mid. Meanwhile, the other team's like,
Yep, they took mid by
Yeah.
We don't know.
But go back
know
to
what,
the first
like,
lane.
I'm in mid and I'm like, I don't even want to be here anymore.
exactly.
Jeez.
It's
I'm
Gnaw
just gonna-
gave you an eviction notice. Of all people,
Yeah.
Gnaw gave you your eviction notice.
Yep.
No,
Nah,
but you.
on you.
Exactly. But I mean, I think he's really balanced now. I think he's really
Yeah.
balanced. I think Ayla is a little bit more on the powerful side,
I think that's just because
Yeah,
of rubber
definitely.
band ball and a couple
Ayla's,
different
like-
upgrades.
but she's really easy to counter. And all you need to do is get her in a burst situation. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Don't
But
run away
that's the
from
thing,
an Ayla.
and they changed saying we wanted to combat the idea of Ayla being too vulnerable to burst. You can't do that. That's what Ocelots is all about. Everyone is vulnerable to burst. There's very few people other than like Clonk and Durple and Swiggins that are really sort of not worrying about burst. Everyone
I would
else.
say Swiggins still worries about burst. Scoop, on the other hand. Scoop.
Oh,
Scoop is awesome.
Scoop.
Scoop is no, but most of those characters don't really have to worry about being bursted down because they're tanks. That's the point of them. But like trying to change Ayla to be less vulnerable to burst is like trying to turn Awesomenauts into League of Legends. It's just not. It's not the point. Why burst is what Awesomenauts is mostly all about. With characters like Coco.
Well, the current
Balin.
meta, yeah. I would say
The
burst
current
is
meta.
exactly what it is.
It's always
But,
been
you know
the
what?
meta, though.
I want to just go back to what I was saying before and kind of reiterate on it. As far as the burst goes, you also need to kite at the same time. If you
Yeah.
can kite an Ayla successfully and predict when she's going for her Evil Eye, if you get an Ayla down to half health, I can almost guarantee it within the next 2 seconds she's going to Evil Eye you.
That's one problem.
Yeah,
I
almost
have to say
guaranteed.
this. With her cooldown of Rage being like half a second and her being able to toggle it on and off, the kiting mechanism for Aylas to like play against her was usually use vertical movement because they have a hard time going up or down with Rage mode because they can't chase and they'll have to go into like chase with boots auto attack mode. With this, it's literally they can keep on you with Rage, and if you juke them, they'll turn Rage off, chase you with auto attack or evil eye you, and instantly turn Rage back on when they correct their path towards you. And that switch, while it might not seem too game breaking, it's definitely giving them an edge of using Rage successfully on
Knockback.
any character.
Knockback,
Yeah.
that's it.
No,
Knockback,
baby
that's all
cream
you
mammoth.
need.
Not
Free
everyone
mammoth.
has knockback though. Not all characters are able
Alright.
to buy knockback.
Ted Knockback plays with Ayla like she's a bowling ball. She just
Oh, yeah, yeah.
throws
Yeah.
her, launches her.
You know,
I always
I-
hate
Baby Mammoth.
playing against Ted McPayne as Ayla with previous Ayla. Because he's just like, you just rage mode, like, I'm gonna get you. And Ted McPayne's like, nah, just go away. Bye-bye.
That's cute.
you
Come
know,
back
that's
in a few
funny. The
seconds.
funniest thing I've ever tried as Ayla is like, is old Ayla. Remember this? So I was raging around. It was on Serona, and then fine, I'm gonna get this Ted, and he's like, no, he shoots me up, and get this, a Scoldier bounces.
You
and
can
gets
juggle
the
her.
throw.
You can juggle her with Ted's knockback. A lot of people don't know this.
Yep.
Define juggle, because I have not
Sorry.
seen you do that.
Air
I've-
bounce.
I've done it a few
Air
times.
bouncer
You
on
keep
it?
her in the
Oh,
air.
yeah. That
Define
seems
juggle.
fun.
That's how.
Sorry, continue, Nat. I was just really happy about you juggling it. Ayla.
Juggle! No, but like, alright, so I'm getting shut up. I'm still in rage mode. I'm getting shut up, poof. And then get this, the Scoldier takes the bouncer. He gets the throw while I'm still moving from the shotgun shot. And I'm like thrown all the way to their side of the jungle. I'm stuck up there. And then I die.
Did he have
Wow.
mighty throw?
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay, well that's
It was just
why.
knocked
The
back
quickest
into
way to
mighty
think
throw.
Scoldier is overpowered is play old Ayla. That's
Yeah.
the quickest way to think. Because originally, Ayla used to kick Scoldier's butt because of New Naught syndrome. Like,
Yeah.
no one knew how to react to her, so Scoldier's just died because they've got such a huge hitbox, and I've no idea what to do. But then Scoldier's were just like, oh, right, knockback.
Like,
Bye.
snare quick
Oh,
and then knock
that's
back.
right. I have these two
Goodbye.
things called
Yeah.
fists. Throws them behind him.
Fisticuff, splendid.
But I mean, you know, actually, Scoldier is really interesting because now he seems like he has a base mighty throw. I don't know if you guys have noticed this.
A base mighty
But-
throw?
I don't know why. It just seems like his throw now has mighty throw as a base.
You mean power briefs?
No,
No. He means like the how
axe
much knock.
throwing trophy. I'm talking about
It feels like they
momentum
increased
that
the
he throws you
knockback,
back.
yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, 'cause
off
it was
base.
Baby Cream Mouse fault.
But I mean, you just get thrown so quickly, and I'm not sure if it's just me or if it's a placebo effect.
It
or
might be they
anything.
fixed the angle, because it seems like they're throwing
Yeah.
it lower to the ground, which makes them move a farther distance
That's why
behind
I think
them,
it's
so.
just the speed and angle that's changed on it. That makes me feel like it's mighty throw because I get thrown by a Scoldier. I'm like, oh, that's nice. I'm already in their turret.
A lot less Scoldiers these days as well now. Like,
Yeah.
Scoldiers, when I used to play a lot more religiously, you'd see a Scoldier every 3 games at least. Because I don't know, it was just such a popular character.
Well, the
for
hitbox was
whatever
big as
reason.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I very rarely see him. I still see him more than I see Lone Stars, actually. But
I see Lone Star more, to
he's-
be honest.
because Lone Star's the tutorial character, so everyone just plays him, and because he seriously is BS.
There needs to be a
he's
bullpen
balanced.
tutorial.
Don't say he's BS. He's balanced.
What's
Yeah, I'd
wrong
say
with him?
Auto attacks could use a little changing, but yeah.
You mean
Bull
his
is
pew
fun.
pew pew?
Bull
Cute,
needs
like bullets.
changing. Needs to be consistent. I'm so mad.
Yeah, that too. Sweet
Mm.
more
Lone Star
Swiggins.
is the sort of like poster child for why abilities shouldn't damage turrets, basically.
I
Because,
agree in that
like,
aspect.
The problem with like I know obviously before the show you guys commented on this, but the problem with Lone Star is a very similar problem to what's a problem with Cat Durple, in the sense that it makes him extremely good at 2 things rather than making him be able to spec, basically. Because if he goes into turret damage with what he's doing, you know, with dynamite and that kind of thing, that also makes him really good in fights, because he just dynamites you and you lose half your health. And then similar thing with Cat Durple is that he can do massive amounts of damage and take massive amounts of damage.
Oh yeah, that's
Obviously, there's counters to those things,
Yeah.
but those counters are quite hard to pull off when 1 millisecond of false movement loses you half your health. Because the characters that are designed to use those countermeasures against, like Lone Star, are the characters that can die nearly in 1 shot from his dynamite.
Of all the things that I'm
which makes it
scared
really
most
difficult.
of in Awesomenauts is going to be a Cat Durple who has you in a snare.
Well,
That is
no,
Durple's
one of the
snare.
most
Mm.
terrifying
Let
things
me just
to me.
rephrase that. I'm afraid of dying.
I'm afraid of
Anyone
death.
else?
No, I'm afraid of a Cat Durple. That is my absolute fear. You combine it with a snare, I get really bad anxiety. I'm like, oh god, it's
Bad
happening.
dreams at
Not
night.
again,
and you're
not
like,
again.
oh no, gonna get in the
But,
safe
and
space.
again, just to sort of round the whole thing off again, like with the Cat Durple thing and the Lone Star, those are 2 prime examples of just optimal build. There are 2 optimal builds with Durple. Turret for pushing, or Cat Durple for everything else.
I'd argue
And
there's
then Lone
3.
Star. Lone Star's got his CC build, which is great for team fights. Oh my god, if you want to win in team fights, take his CC build.
Blind Dynamite, the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Nobody can see.
No.
It's fun.
And then-
Where's the love for Bullstar?
Bullstar.
Well, that is his
your
CC build.
Bullstar is pretty scary. I have to
Techno-Viking.
say, your Techno Viking Bullstar is scary.
I made a
And
whole
those are
YouTube video
optimal
about it.
builds.
That's
You just
what.
pick those and win.
That's the best thing ever. That's why I play Lone Star. Like, I don't even care about. I would piggy to like Big Bull and then get Techno Viking, like to get started, because that's like, oh, this is so cool. You could like, you're a post-it note now, and you're there and you're dying. That's great.
I don't know. We've had a lot of burst meta like patches, and I think I was present in the game with 1 push meta. It was like 2.7 or something. I don't know, and it was fun. Yeah, we had the Voltar Sentry Ted combo. That,
Oh, gosh.
yeah, that was the patch.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
hold on. Fun for you. Fun for you.
Fun for you, but not the whole family.
Anyone else? No one else found that fun. That one team comp was the source of freaking Logitech's spike in keyboard settings.
Yeah.
Those kind of builds, you just can't do anything. You just like, well, might as well just sit in
But
the
I tell you
base.
what though, if you beat that build, it is the
Oh, it's-
best
he-
feeling
yeah.
in the world. You're like,
Oh.
damn.
You're
'Cause
like,
you-
oh, these people
Yeah.
want it, and
My
then
favorite part is you're just like, you didn't expect to lose, did you?
and you're like, and you
Now
go like,
what?
oh, so.
Now
If you
I'll
could
show
just take
you.
a screen cap of your
Welcome.
face right now, that would be great. But I think one thing that I do want to say is that the balancing and how quickly Ronimo has been to kind of balance out some characters and do reworks on characters has been on point. You know, I think this Ayla rework and this Gnar rework have been absolutely amazing. I think a lot of characters have been kind of balanced out to the point where they're playable in the current meta. The only 2 characters that still need to be balanced a little bit more are
Coco.
Coco.
Coco's
We
decent.
won't-
Penny,
Nibs.
definitely.
Coco's okay. Penny needs to get rid of that whole amp thing and make it a viable upgrade in itself.
Yeah.
That would be my thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do we have anything else on this hidden agenda of ours that nobody
let me
else
just
knows
check
about?
the agenda here.
Yeah, check the agenda. If
I
you
mean,
could pull out your date book.
I could annoy everyone
Says
on the
this.
forums by talking about the assist system or lack thereof.
We'll
Yeah,
get that.
we-
we'll
we
talk
could-
about this some other time.
We should get that. We need that.
Yeah.
Want that.
More stats
just
in general.
Really
Just means
briefly
that.
on
Why
that,
are we
I
not
guess.
funding
Like,
this?
The people that
Funding the
I've
funded.
seen people.
Happy birthday.
The excuses that people have given, like when Ronimo has said, we just don't really want to spend time coding it. That's okay. That's Ronimo's I say excuse. That's Ronimo's reasoning. That's why Ronimo doesn't want to do it. Then there's the people on the forums that say Awesomenaut doesn't need one. I'm like, why? There's literally nothing to lose by getting an assist system, and there is so much to gain. For
No,
one,
just the
proof
increase
that
in
you're a good
stats.
support.
Exactly. I would
more
love to see
stats.
the fact that I have
Yeah.
15 assists, even though I may have went 2 and 4.
Yeah,
if I
that
have
makes me
15
feel so much
assists, I'm
better.
gonna say, you know what? All right, I didn't do terrible, and my teams are not gonna, and my teammates aren't gonna say, hey man, you know, like what happened there? You all right?
Buff Voltar needs.
Do you need a
Yeah.
nap? Is everything okay? Are you
Yeah,
drunk? But I
Put down
just
the
feel
kush.
that the. Did you really just say it?
Yeah.
Wow.
My
Don't
whole
even-
thing would be
I think we should stop now.
to see the different type of analytics behind it. See how much solar, or my average solar per minute, or
Yeah.
etc. Something
Yeah.
like that. I think it would be really interesting. You know, it would add a whole new dimension to the scoreboard itself.
Yeah.
It doesn't
You know
even
what?
have to be at the scoreboard. It can
Oz,
be after the game.
I'm gonna assist you here and say that
Assist
we are
me.
out
Do
of
it.
time.
Do it. Do it. So
Do it to it.
I don't
Alright,
know.
so-
Matt, you're our guest. You do our outro today.
Oh wow.
Oh,
I'm
we-
just gonna leave. I'm gonna leave. No. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching the Omi-Cast episode 7. I
Yeah,
have been
7.
your guest for the evening, that guy. Feel free to leave a like or a comment down below. If you liked this video, what would be even more awesome is if you subscribed. that would be muchos, muchos bien. Or muy leche, as they say in Spain. They don't say that because that means very milk.
I'm pretty sure it's
wow.
Izquierda.
Well,
I'm
thank
pretty
you.
sure it's Izquierda.
If you like this guy, that guy, he has a YouTube channel, you know.
YouTube.com/Matman522. I do Awesomenauts content every day, along with currently I'm doing Titan Souls, which is a pretty cool game, a really enjoyable game.
You know, I'm gonna
And
go there right now.
I'm doing Honey Pop. Honey Pop. Oh
No,
my god.
no,
Misogyny
no.
Quest. My favorite
No.
freaking series I've ever done. That game is amazing. And don't worry, it's censored, so it's safe for work, even though it's totally not. Because it's censored with Nigel Thornberry's face.
Oh, smashing!
Why are we not funding this?
Then Froggy
Just-
comes in and then he's like, splashing,
Splash.
Splashing.
splashing.
All right, so
Oz is done.
That being,
Right.
I'm losing it. That was amazing.
Stashing.
That was amazing.
The stashing.
That being said, my name is Oz, and I will catch you later. I think someone else has an intro or something.
Yep,
Just
my
do
name's
it.
Dee
Just-
Today was a pleasure. Dev?
Hello, welcome to the wonderful world of Hogwarts. I'm Devmon.
no, we're
Wrong way,
not
wrong way.
That's
Anyways,
leave
we're
Hogwarts.
leaving.
You're leaving. You're expelled.
Yes,
Leviosa.
I'm gonna get expelled from the. No, I'm Nada, and as always, really fun to do these things, and I think that's it.
And one
Thanks for
huge
watching.
thank you to that guy, Matt, for coming on and being our special guest. We hope you guys enjoyed him.
That
He's an
and
awesome
graphic
guy.
artist.
And
It's
he's
an
graphics
absolute
artist,
pleasure.
as always, and anybody else who has contributed to the
Also, he's got
Omi-Cast.
that awesome plush in the background.
The awesome plush that your duck and that plush are gonna duke it out. Is that a parrot?
Alright,
Okay,
abrupt
sorry.
ending. Everyone say bye.
It's a T-Rex.
Everyone yell.
See you later, guys. Have a good day.
Goodbye.